Oh, goodness gracious. Hello, world. What is up? Welcome to Build. I'm your host, Matt Forte. We are here live at the Build Studio in New York City. You know, before we jump in and begin, I just want to say a quick thanks to our friends over at Macy's for bringing a little bit of springtime to the stage here at Build. Their annual flower show is happening right now through April 7th in New York, Chicago, and San Francisco. This year's cosmic theme is the journey to Paradisios. Yes. So it is not to be missed. Head to Macys.com/flower show for more info and treat yourself. Go have a fun time there at the flower show, all right? All right, now, down to brass tacks. We are less than 2 weeks away, my friends. Game of Thrones. Yes, applauding is appropriate for that. That was the right call. The Game of Thrones final season is quickly approaching. Joining us tonight, an actress and singer who you'll immediately recognize for her work, of course, as Melisandre. And you can also catch her later this year in the upcoming Sky Atlantic series, Temple. The night is dark and full of terrors, my friend. People make a ridiculous amount of noise. The Red Woman herself, Carice van Houten, is in the building. How you feel? How do you feel? That's exactly how I feel. So we're going to get her out here in just a moment. But before we do, I believe we've got a trailer for the upcoming season. So let's go ahead, run that clip.
I know death. He's got many faces. I look forward to seeing this one.
Everything you did brought you where you are now. Where you belong. Home.
They're coming. Our enemy doesn't tire. Doesn't stop. Doesn't feel. I promise to fight for the living. I intend to keep that promise.
Oh, I still get chills. Make some noise. Carice van Houten right here, everybody.
I know what's going to happen.
That's amazing. You know, have you seen that trailer or no?
I have seen a shorter one. Is that possible?
Seen a shorter one. Yeah.
I've seen this
Okay.
one.
Now it's always fascinating to me. We were just mentioning backstage. You haven't had an opportunity to see the finished up. Nobody has, to my knowledge, seen the. I mean, you were there, so technically you do know. But you know, you haven't seen any of the finished cuts. You haven't. Do you tend to avoid the stuff until it's publicly available for this very reason? Because you do these interviews and you don't want to get tripped up, or you think people are going to ask you questions you can't answer?
I do it to not for myself as well, to not spoil it for myself too much, but also, I mean, to be lying for so long about Jon Snow's death was not fun. It really wasn't. So, yeah, I'd rather not know much. In fact, when I said I know it's going to happen, I don't exactly know what's going to happen, and I like it that way.
If I handed you like a sheet of paper and a pen and I walked away for 20 minutes, it's not like you can give me a detailed outline of what play.
No.
Okay, good.
And
That's
I
the
might be
correct
lying.
answer. Yeah. You very well could be. Acting. That's really the gift right there. I'm so excited you're here. Congratulations on completing this incredible show, and you know, having this opportunity to have you here is very cool. The room is vibrating with anticipation. We're all really thrilled to have you here. How are you feeling right now in this moment? You've been down this road before. It's a little different this time. Final season. How's it all feel for you on your side?
It's funny because everything I do now is sort of the last time. Like I did a junket today with Liam Cunningham, and we were
It's fun.
Yeah, and also tiring because man, he talks. But he's such a goofball. But I love him. But it's funny. Yeah, you keep thinking this is the last time we're actually going to do this. And when I did my last scene, I actually was very, very emotional, and I didn't see it coming. I mean, as actors, you're used to being around a certain group of people for a certain amount of time, but 7 years is part of 7 years of your life, so it's all mixed in with my own personal shit. Totally. Yeah. So I wept when it was over. Yeah,
I can
wept
imagine.
and wept.
Right. Yeah, for sure. Was that obviously the weeping seems to come at the end, but did the impending finish line, the finality of it all, did that affect the atmosphere in general throughout the course of filming, or was it not until that final day that it really hit you?
I think people were not allowing themselves really to feel all that stuff, so they were just suppressing all those feelings of saying goodbye and all the the nostalgia and the emotion that came with it. I think that's also why a lot of people got so emotional, because it was such a relief and release to get all that tension out. Yeah.
We talk about how the room is vibrating with anticipation. The world is. There's the HBO literally hid thrones all over the globe. I don't know if you've been following any of this, but they hid physical thrones. People are finding them. There's a level of excitement that is, there are big shows, there are big movies, but this is one of those rare moments in pop culture where all eyes come the 14th are on this premiere or on this show. What is it like to be in the middle of all that excitement?
Well, it's funny because when we were just watching that trailer, I was like, I am actually in this show. That's so cool. Like, I sometimes forget it a little bit. Also because I'm only in certain scenes. It's not like we see each other all the time. There's a lot of stuff that I have no idea about and that I didn't read about either. As I said before, I didn't want to spoil myself too much. So I'm just as much of a fan as you all are. Yeah. So I'm very excited. I am very excited. It's a bit. I understand why people get a bit emotional when you talk about the ending. I had the same thing with Breaking Bad. I was so obsessed with that. I can totally relate to that sort of fandom ship. Is that a word? Fandom ship.
Fandom ship. Well, fandom.
I'm a bit jet lagged, people.
No, it's a. You're crushing it. A fandom ship is, if not, it is a thing now. This show is on the internet, which means somebody has already referenced that moment and coined the term, so no worries. But, talking about the fandom ship, as it were, is that something, because you've been on the show since season 2, it was popular when it started for sure, but it's grown exponentially over time. Dealing with the well, I shouldn't say dealing, that has a negative connotation, but interacting with the fans and the passion in all of that, is that something you had to sort of figure out and adapt to over time and grow comfortable with over time?
Yes, I had to deal with, on Twitter, I had a lot of comments for a certain episode where I did something really bad. Sorry about that.
You don't.
And I got a lot of die, bitch, die, when are you going to die comments. And then a season later, when I did something that was really nice, I brought a certain person back. Then it was all like, Melisandre for president, will you marry me, all that stuff. So I just enjoyed the commitment of the audience, and I loved them hating me and then loving me again. Like it amuses me.
I can't believe people would say. I mean, they were saying when they said "die, bitch, die," they were talking to Melisandre. They weren't addressing.
I hope so. Yeah. Yeah.
Goodness, well, I hope so as well.
But it shows how much they were into it, and I thought that was really cool.
That is pretty cool, I suppose. That's a really healthy way to look at that. That is...
I mean, otherwise you'll go crazy, of course. Yeah.
One of the things that we hear often on the stage when we talk to an actor who's had an opportunity to play what could be perceived as a bad guy or a character that the audience is like kind of made to hate, one of the tricks that we always hear is like, look, you have to look at it through their eyes. They don't see themselves as a bad guy. What they're doing is justified. They're in the right. Was it hard for you to put yourself in that position as someone who burned a child at the stake? Is that a hard space to wrap your head around? And
Yes. I mean, I wasn't a mother back then yet. I think it would have been even harder now. I remember reading the script and I was like, oh, am I? Oh no, oh, this is not going to get me any sympathy points. This is going to be, this is an epic scene, but it's really horrible. Yes, it was a fun day to shoot. I mean, so that sounds really awful. I mean, we had fun.
Right.
Just because it's, it's an illusion. It's not real. And the girl that, I was burning, oh, this sounds so weird. The girl I was burning really took it well. And we had a lot of fun backstage, and, and she actually gave me a really cute gift. And she's such a sweet, she gave me like an ever-lighting candle or something like that.
Oh, it was? It was
and I didn't have anything for her, and I just burned her, and I just said goodbye. I feel bad about that still. No, I mean, we didn't have fun about the scene, but
of course, but that's
you have to
point,
because
though. Yeah, I mean, for a show, yes, admittedly, Game of Thrones can at times get a laugh out of people. It can have a funny moment. There are characters with a sense of humor,
but it is me so much. No,
not you as much for sure, and by no means a comedy. More times, often more than you're laughing, your jaw's on the floor. You can't believe what's happening. Something terrible or just something incredible. So how do you? And from what I understand, you're shooting under sometimes adverse conditions. How do you maintain a sanity in that scenario where everything can be so dark and intense? So you have to have fun with it, right?
Well, yeah. If you have Liam Cunningham next to you, it makes it easier. I have to say, like he really pulled me through it, and he's there were sometimes harsh conditions, like, and I get cold. I mean, as Liam would say, you get cold in a microwave, like even yeah, and sometimes it was really freezing, and I don't know what the question was anymore. What was the question?
The question was essentially, how do you maintain sanity under those conditions? What do you guys do? What is fun on the set of Game of Thrones?
Fun. You have to make jokes, and you just shouldn't take it too seriously, I think. And the cold keeps you sort of, sharp.
Yeah, you kind of got dealt a rough hand there. Your character doesn't need to.
Especially since my character was supposedly never cold in the books,
Were they at least bringing you big coats between takes, keeping you warm, or no?
Yeah, of course. But there's scenes where I'm supposed to be all, secure of myself and very strong, and I had like in between my costume, I had a hot water bottle, which it's not very sexy, but I had to be all sort of womanly and strong, and yeah.
You mentioned something that I thought was really interesting when we were talking about the fire scene. Is that you don't know that you would have been able to do it now that you're a mom. Like, it would have been harder for you to do. But when doing research, I believe I saw it was between seasons 6 and 7 that you became a mom. It was something like that. It was about a couple of years ago, 2 years ago, 3.
He's 2.5
He's
now.
2.5.
Yeah.
There we go. Okay, so the internet nerds will do the math. Oh yeah,
He's
applaud
so
for
cute.
momhood, of course. Applaud for being a mom, please.
So cute, people.
Yeah. How many years are you going to wait until he can watch the show? I'm kidding.
Sometimes people come up to me and they say, my son wants an autograph. And I'm like, okay, and how old is he? He's like 9. I'm like, how is that possible that this 9-year-old kid watches that show and also asks my autograph of all people? I'm not the children's friend per se on the show.
Kid's just grinning ear to ear, holding his notebook out. I was like,
maybe he's confusing me with someone else. I don't know.
Well, the path I wanted to go down is you can recognize. That's a pretty obvious example of here you are. There's a child at stake. But have you found, since becoming a mother and since becoming a parent and just the perspective that comes with that, have you been surprised at all at the way it's impacted what you do at work and when you act and like when you have to get into a scene and get into stuff like that? Have you found yourself caught like by surprise? Like, oh.
Not really. I mean, I'm more of an open wound than I used to be, I think. Just emotions come easier to me in any sorts of ways. But other than that, and it makes me more picky in my choices. I need to find something really interesting or challenging. Otherwise, I'm like, why am I not at home with my child?
That's an interesting perspective. That you need it to be more interesting, and you have to make it. You want it to be a little bit harder to justify not being home, basically. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, that dovetails into something else I was curious about because I was reading, I don't know if it was in The Guardian or what, but you had said when you joined the show early on, because of the contrast between Melisandre and characters you'd played before, you had to work really hard to kind of figure her out and get into that zone. And now you've had, 6, 7 seasons under your belt. Here you've had a couple of years to grow with this character. Were they able to surprise you and challenge you even till the very end, even after you've had all this time to be with Melisandre? When you got into this final season and you were reading through it, again, I'm not looking for spoilers, but emotionally speaking, did they surprise you in any way, or were you like, oh, this is going to be tough? Like, did you have moments going in, or were you like, I got this?
I got that. I got it. No, I mean, I'm so afraid to say anything, people.
Okay.
Mr. HBO is like, looking over my shoulder. I did think it was tricky when Melisandre loses her faith and her, and she realizes, oh my God, I was wrong. Yeah. I really loved that because for a long time she's so certain, so, so sure of herself, and I was really waiting for that turnaround because most of the characters, I mean, that's also why the show is so good. There's all the characters are three-dimensional and nobody's black or white, nobody's just good or evil. And for a long time I thought my character was a bit too sort of going too much of it was one direction a little bit. So I was really happy when then finally that moment came when you saw that she was in fact a bit more human, I guess.
Yeah. Even in that sort of supernatural way, but all the qualities of humanity were there. I mean, that was a wild moment, and if you had you not read the books, if you were just watching the show, that was a very dramatic reveal, just to find out amongst all of that, the significance of that moment and seeing this person who we've only till now perceived as like this confident character, knew exactly and was sure, and now just kind of losing that faith, broken, very fragile in a whole different way.
And much older than you thought.
Much older, yes. Much older. Stuff like that. How much of that were you privy to in advance? Like, we sit here and joke now, you know how it's going to end. Well, yeah, you did the show. But when you were on set, how much did they tell you, over the years, background-wise, backstory? Is there stuff about Melisandre's past that never made it to screen, but that you were told about so you could flesh things out?
Not really. They were very sparse. What's that word? Sparse?
The information was sparse?
Sparse?
Yeah, sparse. Yeah, it means there wasn't a plentiful amount of information.
No,
yeah,
and
bountiful amount.
That made it really exciting for me because I was sort of guessing a little bit, and sometimes
Interesting. You like the fact that you were kind of guessing and figuring it out, that there wasn't.
Yeah, because she was such a mystery to me too. And so I just made my fantasy go, and that's how I created this character. They didn't really give me much, to be honest.
That's interesting. Do you ever find yourself now that you have kind of the whole story? Do you I don't want to say regret, but would you have done anything differently that you've done in prior seasons now that you know ultimately where the arc lands?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
No.
That's cool.
Yeah.
We've got a couple of seconds left, and we are going to go to the audience. But before we do that, one of the things that I have to ask about is coming out of this experience. You're breathing rare air here. You've had an opportunity as an actor to be on one of the biggest shows of all time, but to also just be with the character for this amount of time and live with this character for so long, and now you have to say goodbye. As you move forward and go on to your next projects, what is something you foresee yourself taking with you from project to project? Something from this experience that's never going to leave you, that you'll take with you as you go forward?
What I really enjoyed was the no asshole policy on set. So basically everyone that's involved in this show was a good person. Like, I just had so much I have so much respect for crew and cast, so much more than I had before even. And also the British cast, and I'm saying also like Irish and Scottish, they're so polite. I mean, I'm from Holland, where we're really blunt and sort of a bit, blunt, I guess the word is. We're not very polite or very, we're not very flowery. But in England, when you come into a trailer, people ask you how you slept and how it's all so polite. I actually learned from that you can actually have a sort of a nice little. They're so good at, as Americans are good at making conversations, and we're just like, we don't say anything. We're just blunt
When they
as a folk. Is that a word?
That's perfect. When someone first came up to you, they very politely asked how you slept. Were you like, did you not know how to respond? Is it not something you come?
Well, it's funny because on the other hand, when they say, how are you? That's something that we don't even ask in Holland.
Really?
The other thing is then we're so surprised that someone asks you how you are that we actually then tend to give an honest answer. But that's not also the
That's not what we're looking for.
Yeah, no.
Not what anybody wants.
No, I know. So that's a bit confusing sometimes. But
That's pretty amazing. That's a wonderful response. In the spirit of talking about moving forward, you've got a pretty awesome show coming up on Sky Atlantic, Temple, that you did with Mark Strong. Just real quick, it's pretty exciting. How'd you get involved with that? What was it like working with Mark, who was just here recently? He's a pretty amazing guy. That must have been a great experience.
He's great. It's another great actor and a good guy. You know, there's it's not just crazy people in Hollywood and in this industry. There's normal people as well. That's good to know. No, that was a joy, and I knew him from another film that we did together where I was completely cut out of. It happens. And then he just, so many years later, he just thought of me, I guess, for this show, and they asked me to come and.
So was Mark was recommended you for the show, and they reached out to you?
Yeah, which is nice.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Have you filmed all that already, or are you starting work on that?
I filmed it all. Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that's done. That's in the can. You're excited for
Yes.
that. Very, very cool. Do you know like when we can see that? When that's coming?
That's coming out in September.
In September. Okay. Got it. So we'll only have to go like a couple of months without seeing you on TV, and then we can watch this show.
Yeah, but you can see all sorts of other things. I've done funny other things.
You've done tons
I've
of
done
other stuff.
funny
yeah.
things, people.
Yeah.
I've done comedies and shit.
You have done comedies and shit, for sure. You've done a ton of great stuff. And you're a phenomenal musician. I wanted to ask you about when when we're gonna see another record. Last one was 2012.
I know, it's been a while.
Now this is done. You've got some time.
It's true. It's true. It gives
Yeah?
me a bit more time. I would love to make another record. It's just a logistic thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'll make music. It makes me more happy than anything else.
You should. You should totally do it then. You got to chase it if it makes you happy. I got a trillion other questions, but I would be a real jerk if I didn't give some time to our fans here. So we're going to go to a Twitter question right now from Bella Tricks Kiddo. She says, I'll just skip the trying to trick spoilers out of you and ask for any fun, interesting, behind-the-scenes anecdotes you might be able to share.
Oh, there's so many anecdotes. Well, when people say, what's the thing that you will never forget? I guess that was me giving birth to some CGI shadow monster thing. Having a prosthetic belly and prosthetic and merkin, and, you know, this all was fake as well. And it was in a drafty cave in Northern Ireland with Liam Cunningham and tubes coming from my belly and people blowing into the tubes to deflate and inflate. And I don't know what was going on. And me trying to, you know, give birth. I mean...
the best of your knowledge at that time.
To something, to some sticker that someone was sort of holding up and I was sort of trying to follow. I had no idea what was coming out.
Right, so I guess that you need to follow the eye line. So they had like the old tennis ball on a stick. Here's your baby.
Liam says it was
demon.
an actual sort of shape. I don't remember that. I just remember some sort of stick with a sticker on it, just sort of that I had to follow. And yeah.
You know, when I asked what you were going to carry with you for the rest of your life, I like the polite crew. That was a good answer, but that's a fantastic answer. That experience, that's not going anywhere. Thank you so much for that question. We've got a couple in the room. We've got at least three fantastic. First one's coming from right over here in the front. Go for it.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm just curious. You said that you haven't really read ahead. You like to be surprised as you're watching it. Are there any fan theories that are your favorites that you really want to hope for?
I mean, there's so many fan theories that I haven't read. I mean, I'm sure there's crazy ones out there. In the beginning, I started sort of looking on the internet also to get more of a grip of my character. I think probably most of you know more about my character than I do, to be honest. But I also thought I'm gonna get sucked into some rabbit hole that I don't want to go into, and then you'll find comments that you don't really want to read. And I just thought I'm gonna stay out of that world. That's not an answer to your question, is it? No. What?
Pretty good. Yeah. No, I thought
No,
that
but
was
there was an actual question that I haven't answered, I think.
You were asking if there were... Go ahead. take it away.
If there's any theory
Oh,
that you
theory.
particularly like, I don't know, Ned Stark
not-
isn't dead.
Yeah.
That's
That one, yeah.
Do people say that?
that's a new one.
Oh, I love that shit. To be honest, I don't really know many fan theories, to be very honest with you, so I couldn't really give an answer to that.
I'd stay away from it too.
Steer clear. I did see in a couple of different places that you've been over the years rooting for Sam, that you want to see Sam win, that you love Sam
Yeah, I
Tarly.
mean, who doesn't? In a world where Samuel Tarly is king, I mean, that's a great world.
we all win.
Yeah.
John's going to be here tomorrow, actually, so I'm very excited to
Is
tell
he?
him. Yeah, he's coming
I
tomorrow
love him.
as well. Yeah,
I love him. We share a big love for Laurel and Hardy. That's our sort of, yeah.
That's a really. That's such a fun thing to connect on. Kate, how many I got left? I got 2 more in the room. Okay, next one. Looking for the microphone. Go for it.
I know you can't give away much, but I was wondering if you were satisfied with
Nothing, to be honest.
Much, nothing.
No, but I wanted to know if you were satisfied with how Melisandre's story came to an end.
I'm very satisfied. This is how we are trained.
Well done.
No, I am really satisfied.
We've got time for one more question. That's what that means, Kate. Thank you very much. And we're going to go to that question right over yonder.
Hi, thank you for coming here today. Earlier on, you mentioned that, hashtag Melisandre for president. If Melisandre was a real person, what kind of job do you think she would be in?
What kind of?
Job.
What kind of job she would be in? Is that what you said, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
If I would be
If Melisandre was a real person, what do you think? Like present day, we're saying?
a job.
Yes.
Yeah, what kind of job would she have?
Oh my God, not a comedian, that's for sure.
She'd go on a barbecue.
Oh, maybe someone that works at the border. You know those people? You know those people? And I'm always like, what kind of people are they? Like, do they really enjoy seeing us being in 2 hours in customs sweating? And they just love that. They just love that sort of, I don't know. I mean, I'm actually being mean to Melisandre now.
A little bit.
She's actually cooler than that, to be honest.
It's a fascinating window into your perception of this character.
I know, it's weird. It's just something that stayed with me from yesterday, and I was like, what is that about people?
Did you get held up because is that what happened?
What? 2 hours? Really? And there's
Have
no air
anything-
conditioning. I mean, there's worse things in the world. Come on, but
Fair enough, but you're allowed to
it was a bit annoying if you haven't eaten on the flights and you're like, just get me out of here. And I get really sort of, I want to get into a fight. And I did it once in Toronto, and I dropped my suitcase, and the guy said, pick your bag up, ma'am. And I was like, is that the way you treat people that come to your country and want to see your... I shouldn't have done that. And then I started kicking some pillars because I was a bit frustrated. And then someone said, you have to stop this because they'll actually arrest you here. And I was like, I'm in Canada. What?
How bad could that really be?
I mean, I have a bit of an authority problem, I guess.
Has that always been that way, or did that develop over time once you
No,
started
I've always
connecting
been
with,
quite,
okay, that's not because of
feisty,
your deeper connection.
No,
to
maybe
your
that's why I
character.
was cast. I don't know. I don't know.
Brilliant. All right, I've got to. Are we done, Kate? Yes, we got to wrap things up. Okay, we're out of time, regrettably, but this was wonderful. I hope you had a good time. Thank you.
I had.
That's perfect. Yeah.
Thank you.
Please do applaud. Thank you so much for being here, and congratulations again on the finality here of this, of wrapping up 7 years, this incredible character. I can't wait. We all can't wait to see how it ends, and I imagine you can't wait to see it either. Since
No,
you haven't
I
seen
can't
it yet.
wait.
So we'll all watch and tweet about it together. I'm going to remind, I don't know, the 3 people left that don't know this, but the Game of Thrones... It's April 14th on HBO. We all have parties set up and friends coming over to watch it. So Game of Thrones, HBO, April 14th. It is almost here, folks. Hang in there just a little bit longer. And do me a favor. Join me in thanking our guests. Make a ridiculous amount of noise. Carice van Houten right here.
Thanks.